It's Brian Preston, the Money Guy.
This next question is from Kyle. Kyle says, I have a friend that has put into a pre-tax 401k for the last decade. We have a Roth 401k option. What should he do? I love, he's not even asking for himself. Kyle's throwing shade at his friend. What should he do? Convert, stay the course, or just change his contribution location? Thanks for the hard work, Brian Bowe and the entire content team. So Kyle knows he's got it figured out. This is what he said. He said, I know that I'm doing Roth. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. But what should my buddy be doing? He's been doing pre-tax for 10 years. Should he convert all that money? Should he switch from doing pre-tax to doing Roth? Should he keep doing pre-tax? How does he know if he's doing the right thing and what he should be doing?
Well, we can't give specific advice, but we can give you the things that should go into the decision-making process. So, Kyle, hopefully this will help you a few talking points. First of all, how old are each of you, or especially your friend? What's their income? Because that when you know somebody's income, you can figure out what tax rate they're in, or their marginal tax rate, their effective tax rates. Because taxes have a big impact. Because what's the whole benefit with Roth IRAs? Remember, you don't get a tax deduction when you put the money in. It's always after-tax dollars that go in, but they grow completely tax-free. So when you're exploiting the compounding growth of turning $1 into $88, Roth is like awesome. Bonus points because you're not paying income taxes on that $87 of growth. That's great while you're young, and that's great while you're in a lower income situation. The problem, and I don't know Kyle's friend, but if he's older or in a much higher income situation, because look, the top marginal rate right now is 37%, potentially could go up to 39.6 anytime now. And then the states are 5 to 6. Even if you live in California, it could be as high as 13%. So you can imagine if you're somebody at 37% federal, you live in California and you have another 13% that gets strapped on top of that, there's 50% not taking into account the Medicare surcharges and all the other things. You very easily could be in a situation where 50 to 55% of your income is completely disappearing. And you're probably looking at it and going, hey, when I retire, I've heard Brian and Bo talking about 3-bucket strategy. Like I have after tax, tax deferred, and then Roth. Hopefully, if I retire in my 50s or even 60s, I'm going to have a period of time to essentially manipulate legally the tax code. I'll be in a much lower tax bracket. That's when I should convert. That type of person, I can see why you want to do a traditional 401k. It's much better to take the tax deduction now. That's not the case for typically a younger person. You just ought to roll right into being a 401k. Now, Bo, I'm going to leave you the heavy lifting for you. Should Kyle's friend go ahead and do conversions or just change into a Roth if they're still young and in a lower income situation?
That's a great question. And I think you have to answer the question in reverse order. First, you have to decide, where should my next dollar go? Should my next dollar go pre-tax or go Roth? And then once you figure that out, if you've determined that your next dollar should go Roth, the next question you have to decide is, well, all those dollars that were going pre-tax, should I convert them? I see all kinds of folks who listen to the show and when they hear about this Roth thing for the first time and they hear that they can convert pre-tax dollars, and it's like they start itching. They get so excited and they start losing their mind. It's super cool that you can turn pre-tax dollars into Roth. However, when you do that, that is a big taxable event. So if you want to convert all those pre-tax contributions to Roth, you're going to have to pay income tax on that. And if you've been saving for the last decade and you make the choice to take all that decade of savings plus growth and convert it, there's a good chance that plus the income that you're earning in that year is going to push you into some of the higher tax brackets. So I don't know that it always makes sense to convert while you're working. There is nothing wrong with dollars growing tax deferred, because we're of the opinion that later in life, maybe if you retire early or you have lower income years or other circumstances, maybe you're single but you're going to get married one day, whatever the thing may be, there will be opportunities likely for you in the future to turn those pre-tax dollars into Roth. I don't think you have to get in like this crazy fervor to do it all as quickly as soon as possible. I have a dear, dear friend who I was reviewing his tax return and I saw that he'd been doing this every year and he makes a lot of money. And I told him, I was like, hey, you realize every time you do this conversion, you're costing yourself this much in taxes. And it blew his mind. He's like, I didn't even think about that. And I said, the way you're saving, you're going to be able to control your circumstances in retirement. You need to stop trying to convert all your pre-tax money. Just let it continue to grow. Focus on building Roth assets in other ways, like doing backdoor Roths or doing mega backdoor Roths or those sorts of things. You're going to have a way to do that without doing it all right now. So again, I think you need to let your current tax situation dictate, and then you have to make kind of an estimation of what you think your future taxes are going to be like. But before I'd even get to any of those questions, I'd figure out where my next dollar should go, and I'd focus on that.
I do want to, and look, this is one, it probably does make sense to go to the next level with your relationship when hiring an advisor, because sometimes there can be one-off events. Think about like pandemic year. So unique in the fact that a lot of people were out of work, got unemployment benefits. A lot of those benefits turned out to be tax-free. If you're normally in a higher tax situation, all of a sudden your income from a taxability standpoint goes to zero, and yet you still had money coming in because it wasn't taxed. You could do Roth conversions. That's a one-off. And it's just like somebody who retires at 55 or 60 and you're not required to take minimum distributions until 72 and you have a big savings account. That's a great time to convert money too. But all these things are custom, because I do want to tell you, be careful of the unintended consequences, because I think a lot of people get so excited about the conversions, like you said, but they don't think about, especially I'll talk about the 55 to 72-year-olds. Where are we at with the Affordable Care Act on the subsidy that comes in, because every one of those conversion dollars impact that. Where are we once you get to Medicare age of 65 with your premiums on that, and then you get into how much of your Social Security is taxable? I mean, all these things have ripple effects, and that's why you need to kind of know all the variables that go into the decision. And a lot of us have blind spots. You don't know these things. I mean, there's a lot of things I've gotten into that are complex. They're like, man, wouldn't it be nice if I had a tour guide who's been here before? Because there's nothing worse when you're doing something complex and you ask somebody, like, think about you getting a surgery done, and there's a commercial on this, and you ask the doctor, hey, you've done a bunch of these, right? And he goes, nope. First one. First one. Can't wait to work on you, though. I mean, that is your worst nightmare. But yet every one of my do-it-yourselfers, and I love do-it-yourselfers because I'm cut from the same cloth. That is what you're doing when you get into some of these complex strategies, is that you're looking forward to doing this all by yourself. And that's why I love the abundance cycle, because it allows us, give you free advice, give you all the information. But I know if you do this right and you listen to what we share, there'll come a time, and maybe it's a few years, maybe it's a decade in the future, you're going to look at your financial life and go, holy goodness, this is amazing what I've created here with this input. I don't know what I don't know, and I want to make sure I'm not doing this the first time. And that's when you'll think about the abundance cycle. You'll remember the Money Guy Show, and hopefully you'll take the relationship to the next level.